Okay. The second thing is that you need to develop your leaders. Okay. So I see a lot of agile coaches and scrum masters um, quite happy to coach downwards. So how do I get my team to do this? How do I work with this? How do I work with that? But I don't see as many people being willing to coach upwards, and coaches are leaders too. So as a coach, you need to, how can you expect your organization or the organization that you work with, how can you expect them to be showing up in a different way, all autonomous and self-organizing, when you yourself are not stepping into that space fully? And part of that, if Shashi, I think to your question, for instance, part of it is if you hear that, if a question comes from your leadership team that's completely, in opposition to the agile mindset, that's an opportunity for coaching. That's an opportunity for educating. It's an opportunity to have a conversation, and it's the first step in realigning them. So educate them, coach them, challenge them. Make sure that you learn about leadership yourself. If you need to, if you're unsure or uncertain about, speaking truth to power, find a coach and work with a coach so that you become comfortable in coaching senior leaders, executive leaders, whoever, whatever kinds of leaders you're working with. But you need to figure out what is standing in your way, in your own leadership, which is the next point, actually. Okay, what is standing in your way to develop your own leadership? Okay, so there's agilists tend to have an aversion to power being used in the traditional way, and rightly so. But sometimes that's grown into an aversion to use power in any way whatsoever. So if we can't show a new way of using power, if we can't become the leaders that we've been waiting for, how can we expect the leaders that we are working with to show up in that way? You don't have to lead with authority. You don't have to have positional power. You can lead without authority. So whether you have to go on your own professional leadership development journey, or get a coach, or just learn about leadership, or anything, so you educate yourself, work on yourself, figure out where are your blind spots, even if you just go on a professional coaching course. Professional coaching is renowned for forcing development in people. You realize what the lenses are that you look through, and where your blind spots are. So, and there are like multiple assessments. So these, speak to me about them. So there are multiple assessments that can tell you where you are as a leader, 360s, etc. There's at least 3 that I can help you with. So it's out there for us people. It's out there for us to find out, where do we sit and what do we need to do? Because if we are going to wait for leaders to change, some of them will die before they will change, so, okay. And then a very important last point for me is that as agilists, we need to be deliberately developmental. So, this Robert Keegan coined this phrase the book is called An Everyone Culture. And the basic idea is that we ultimately want to create a deliberately developmental organization. So it's kind of a learning organization on steroids. And that happens through creating deliberately developmental relationships, where people come together with the explicit aim of developing themselves and their mental complexity, and therefore their adult development, and their meaning making. So, if you look at sense making, I showed you a brief diagram of just how we do sense making, how our sense making works. So there are certain practices around sense making, collective sense making, and there are also you can create deliberately developmental environments and practices for development. So find those relationships. I mean, I've been in deliberately developmental relationships for probably about 4 years now, and they have been where a lot of my learning has taken place, and they are free because you just hook up with with some other people who want to do the same thing. They are free, they are deep, they are challenging, and they really challenge you to look at not only how you think and why you think, but also what is the lens that you're looking at when you do your thinking and when you do your problem solving. So I'll take some more questions now. Okay, but really the message today is hopefully that it creates some empathy in you for those that we work with, some empathy in you for yourself, and some guidelines about what to do with all of this. So I'm going to stop my share so that I can see you.